This is 3 ways to ace a tech company interview, and a bonus one. One bonus tip that might completely change the way you think about interviews for a big tech company. Okay, let's get going. I'm Bruce. I've spent a lot of time in tech, working at FAANGs, working at other companies, startups, big corporates, and so on. I want you to do better in your next interview for a tech role. And part of this is selfish. I hate it when interviews go badly, particularly when a capable person just doesn't know how to succeed in them. Things are tough right now in the whole tech sector. That's without question. Jobs are hard to find. There's a lot of people competing for them. But one of the things you can do to help secure that job is know how to interview well. The structure of a tech interview is important here. Usually there'll be an introduction, there'll be usually a warm-up question, and then there'll typically be a bigger question, and then that question might develop into other pieces. Some people join those up. They have a warm-up question that then expands into the full interview, and there are reasons to do that. There are reasons to not. It's a matter of taste whether you do it. And then a good interviewer will leave time at the end for you to ask your own questions. That's really important because an interview is a way for you to understand whether you want to work somewhere as well, as much as it is for the place to work out whether you're going to fit in, whether you have the right set of skills. That structure is really important because one of the failure modes is you can blow your interview engaging with a warm-up question. Now, the purpose of a warm-up question is for the interviewer to get a feel for your voice and how you respond to things, get you warmed up, get you confident, get you prepared and kind of in the flow to deal with this. It's a great way of making people less nervous and let them pick up the things they're going to need to in an interview. Love a warm-up question, super important, right? Cool. Point 1, listen and clarify. The interviewer is going to ask you a question. They have probably asked this question a lot of times before, maybe hundreds, okay? They have a rhythm, they have a cadence that they deliver that to, and they may have gotten into the habit where they have deliberately or not deliberately left out some important parts of this question. The question could well be similar to a question you've heard before, but probably isn't exactly the same. First point, listen, clarify. Listen through the question. Don't answer the first couple of words you hear. Don't jump straight in. Actually ask clarifying questions. I assure you, as an interviewer, if there's an ambiguity, I'm actually leaving it there to prompt you to ask questions so that you get a better sense of what the thing is. I understand that you've listened and you're actually going to be answering the question that we want. That's really important, right? It's incredibly frustrating to have to kind of steer someone when they've failed to notice things, and you can waste a lot of time. Point 2, second point, start simple. 2 reasons for this. The first is, if this is a warm-up question, we're just wanting you to solve it in a simple way. And then we're going to get onto the real question, which is actually where the meat of the interview is. Really important. Don't waste all your time on a warm-up question. The second part is, you don't know what I'm interested in yet. So come up with a simple solution that solves the problem, communicate what that's going to be, actually explain your thoughts of how you're going to solve it along the way, and start out with something simple and straightforward to show that you can actually approach the question and solve the question as it goes. Don't try and be super fancy. Don't throw in huge amounts of unnecessary data structures. If I want you to go it faster or more efficient or use less memory, I will ask that, and we can have a really interesting discussion, which is the meat of the interview, on how to make your solution better. You should not waste time trying to over-optimize everything to start with. We'll get you to do it more. That can be a discussion. Often it'll just be code for the first part and the discussion for the second, or maybe we'll get you to alter your code, change your code, fix bugs, whatever. Get something down fast, because if that is the warm-up question, do it quickly. It's meant to take 5 or 6 minutes, and then you go and do the real question. Do not waste your interview purely doing the warm-up question, because that will not end well for you. I have a whole video on why tech company interviews are going to lean into videos. I've linked here, right? Watch that if you wonder why we bother with algorithms questions. It may not be for the reason you think. The third point is tricky. You're probably not expecting this, right? The third point is not technical. The third point is to listen. During the interview, your interviewer is probably going to ask clarifying questions, give you little hints, nudge you away from wrong solutions. They're probably going to tell you what the answer is, but they will be trying to gently nudge you away, trying to steer you towards the actual answer, or at least the area of explanation that they want. Listen to them. You have to be steerable by them. They are there to not distract you. They're there to help you. They're to push you to where they want the interview to go so they get the information they need. You are only going to help yourself by listening to them and leaning into that. Please listen to what the interviewer is actually telling you. The bonus. This one might blow your mind. I know a lot of people are very nervous about tech interviews. They see the interviews at the FAANG companies in particular being big and scary and impossible to pass and all of that stuff. But this is really important. If an interviewer is going on a 1 hour long interview with you, 45 minutes, whatever, and they're going to spend that time, that's because they want more co-workers to share the work with, to be able to do bigger things with, all of this stuff. They want you to succeed. I assure you, there's nothing more frustrating than watching someone flail about, or watching someone not be able to do things, right? Not be able to get through the interview. That interviewer wants you to succeed. They actively want to help you. They will be actively dropping little hints, little nudges. They will respond really positively when you're heading in the right direction. They are there. They are there to try and get you to perform your best, to see if you can get over the hiring threshold, to demonstrate that you have all the necessary skills, pieces, knowledge, background to be able to get this job. They want you to succeed. People see tech interviews as super contentious, something where it's almost combative, and some bad interviewers may do that. And they're being jerks, and that's a thing. As an industry, we try to avoid that. But for the most part, the interviewer wants you to succeed. They, believe it or not, are on your side. And this comes back to the listen point. They're on your side. They're trying to help. Please do not be the person where the interview feedback goes, they headed off on the wrong direction. I couldn't drag them back. I dropped all the hints. I actively tried to steer them, and then I had to give up, and then they did something silly. No hire. I don't want to work with someone who can't be pushed towards a good, correct solution. Just don't be that person. There is literally nothing more frustrating than a candidate who's going wrong and cannot be steered because they're not listening. They're too caught up in being nervous and trying to actually do the interview that you can't save them. You can't save them from themselves in that finite time. It's super frustrating. It's tragic, and people shoot themselves in the foot. Like, again, per that video, right? Tech companies are hiring to reduce risk, and if you cannot be steered, you are a risk and you will not get hired.